Hi, I'm Snowy Moogle, and this is my Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights All Bosses No CE submission for AGDQ 2021. So this game was developed by Heavy Iron Studios and released on the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox in 2002. It's a 3D platformer with this really interesting Metroidvania-style progression system, where we'll be collecting certain upgrades to get access to certain levels, but at the same time, there's quite a few sequence breaks that allow us to really do some levels out of order in this game. And you'll see those in a bit, but right now we're collecting all of these snacks, and these snacks are needed to pay off snack gates. Snack gates will block off levels until we can pay a certain amount of snacks, like right here. We need to pay a quick 25 snacks to get access to the manor. And because we need to collect so many snacks and pay a handful of snack gates throughout the run, we'll be going out of our way a lot in a lot of levels to get some extra snacks. Like right here, we're gonna jump off the rail and get access to the chandelier for a quick 10 snacks. Those snack boxes are actually worth 5 snacks each, so we definitely prioritize them in a lot of the snack routing we do. Now, as we exit the manor, we're gonna talk to Don Knotts, and he's gonna give us the shovel. Shovel is our first Metroidvania power-up. It allows us to dig up these flower spots, and doing that right here gives us this key that allows us to get into to Shock on the Dock, which is the next big section of the run, and also a really good example of how cycle-based this game is. So we're very lucky that the levels themselves have next to no RNG in them. However, there are a lot of cycles we want to make, but at the same time, we want to collect a lot of snacks. So on top of just going fast in general and trying to collect snacks, like right here, I went out of my way to get snacks at the start, but I also want to get those 2 snacks before the fishes got in the way. So a lot of this run is a combination of trying to get a lot of snacks and also trying to make certain cycles. That's just this game as a whole, when you're speedrunning pretty much any category. Heading into Shock on the Dock Part 2, we'll be doing what's called Rubber Band Skip. Normally at this point, we'd be doing a little puzzle with Shaggy. We'd hoist him up onto the life preserver, and we'd swing from his legs to get onto the box on the right to give us access to the rest of the level. However, we can actually just jump up to the box anyways. And that saves a few seconds. Oh, I'm going to try and get a snack box right there. Okay, unfortunately didn't get it. I'm not going to lose too much time from that. Whenever you do miss a snack, it will lose time. But I'll explain that more in a little bit. In Fear on the Pier, I'll talk a little bit about how Scooby's movement works. So Scooby's movement, he has a walk, he has a run, and he has a charge attack. So his walk is basically what he's doing right now. While we walk on the tar here, it's sticky and it forces us to be slow. But right here, we're off the tar and we can run by holding the R button. But Scooby also has a charge attack. Now, the charge attack is actually faster than the run, but it needs a little bit of time to accelerate. And during that initial acceleration, it's actually slower than the run. So when we're doing short distances, we'll just do the run, but when we have enough time to build up speed, we'll use the charge for long distances. And knowing when to use which is really important for movement in this run. Right there, we got the springs power up, which allows us to double jump, and as you saw right there, allows us to also death warp out of the level here, or at least back to the beginning. And also with the springs, we're going to jump off this crap and jump on these posts, and that's going to give us a quick snack box right there, and also allows us to just skip walking on the tar to get back. We're going to take a warp gate here. Warp gates are just the teleportation system of this game. They allow you to warp between any 2 warp gates that you've already been to and activated. And we're going to use that to head back to the mystery machine just outside the manor. And now that we have these springs, we can jump up and grab this key and head to the hedge maze levels. Now, I mentioned earlier that missing snacks will lose you time, just not directly. And that's because snacks in this game, a lot of points when you lose or when you miss a snack, it's not really worth it to go back and get that snack. So what ends up happening is you'll check your snack total at certain points in the run to see how good or bad your snack total is. And if your snack total is particularly bad, you might just get some slower snacks you normally wouldn't get at a later point in the run. However, on the flip side, if your snack total is really good, you might skip some slower snacks you would normally get in the run. And knowing which snacks are slow and fast is definitely very rewarding and will help you shave off seconds when you run this game. Now right here, I'm going for what's called a ledge jump. to get up there. Ledge jumps there. As you saw on the wall, I was able to jump off the wall, and that was definitely not intended. But there are quite a few collisions on walls that you can just jump off of. And with that, you can skip, like, the one I tried earlier would save, like, a couple seconds. But there are some in this game that will save literal whole sections of the game just cut off. Speaking of sections of the game being cut off, I'll be doing a big skip right here called Skull Cliff Skip. Now, we're normally supposed to be heading to the end of the hedge maze levels, and at the end of the hedge maze levels is the helmet power-up. But also at the end of the hedge maze levels is an entrance to a level we're intended to go to much later in the game. But in those later levels, there's actually a shortcut to Hedge 3, the level we're currently in, and we're actually going to clip through the gate and use this shortcut much earlier than intended to get to Misbehavin' 1. Again, a level we're not intended to be at for like another hour or two if you played this game casually. And the reason we do this is because it turns out clipping through the gate and using the shortcut to Misbehavin' 1, and then going through the later levels backwards to get to the end of the hedge maze is actually faster than going through the hedge maze as intended. And this trick saves like 2-ish minutes. Snacks we get are also pretty good, so we don't really have to worry about those too much. Now these fishes can be annoying. I'm gonna jump above them, bait out an attack. That's me get by. Gonna run along the side of this platform here to skip a cutscene trigger, but luckily the door trigger is still quite big, and we can enter the level anyways. Now, Skull 4, as I mentioned, we're going to be going through these levels backwards, and that'll become pretty apparent in a few seconds when the camera will be facing away from Scooby. And because that's a thing, a lot of going through the Skull Cliff levels, and especially Skull Cliff 4, is just knowing the layouts of the levels. And just a lot of knowledge. A quick ledge jump right there gives us access to quick 14 snacks up here, and luckily we aren't losing any time from that. Because this platform right here is on a cycle, and we have to wait for it anyways. Now, quickly jumping over there. Do a single... Okay, missed a snack there, but again, not that bad. The all bosses route is also a lot more generous when it comes to the snack totals you need to get, compared to something like any percent. Yeah, not too much else going on in Skull 4. Probably a good time for a donation or two. It actually is one of the longest levels in the entire game. And I think the second longest we do in the all bosses run. Only next to a 2-minute long auto scroller later on. Now we're going to do kind of leap of faith here. And jump onto that platform right at the end. And as we head into Skull Cliff 3. Skull 3 is a pretty relaxing level by Skull Cliff standards. All we pretty much do is, the only trick we do is we just wait for this platform to start moving, and we're going to jump early. And not only is that faster, because of course we're just jumping earlier, it gives us a very nice cycle up ahead, where the beginning and end of that snack arc right there would normally be blocked by those two enemies if you were too slow. Oh, got hit there. I was thinking I might jump off the crabs. The crabs have very big hurt boxes, and you can jump off of them to get the rest of the snacks without landing. Now, wait a half second right there for that fish to move by. Oh, still got hit. But normally that fish would be right in your way when you enter the level, because again, we entered this level backwards. So just give him half a second to move out of the way. But a lot of... okay, unfortunately getting hit will lose like a second for every time you get hit. And getting hit by the fish kind of threw off the cycle I'm used to. But honestly, it's not that big a deal. And quickly get a few snacks, and that is it for pretty much the, like, movement-heavy Skull Cliff stuff. Gonna do a quick ledge jump right here. And get... and with that, we actually don't have to wait for a platform cycle. That's very nice. It looks scary, but that jump is pretty consistent. Though, of course, I have to wait till I do the jump to say it's consistent, because if I say it's consistent before I do the jump, I'm, of course, going to miss the jump. Now that we're at the end, or I guess beginning of Skull Cliff, we are at the end of the hedge levels in Hill 3, which contains the helmet power-up we were going for all along. Now, we're going for a cycle right at the start, so we need to get those two snack boxes, because those are some pretty quick snacks right there. But we also have to make sure our movement is really fast and really precise. Make sure I turn around very quickly there. And that sets up just very nicely that I can get those four... Oh, okay, I got hit anyways, but normally you could charge right by that boulder and get those 4 snacks, and it's a very satisfying cycle to make. Luckily I was fast enough, but my movement at the end was just, I still got hit while trying to turn back. Good jump on these rocks here. We don't have to wait for the platforms. I don't know how intended that was, but those are definitely a lot less precise than some of the ledge jumps. Okay, I'm at 1 health here, but it really doesn't matter that much. So now that we got the helmet, we can break open boxes, hit switches, and kill enemies. Gonna do a quick death abuse to get back to the start, or where we entered the level from. And now we're going to be doing what's called Galoshes Skip. And Galoshes Skip will skip fighting the Black Knight and getting the upgrade from him. Now, we will fight Black Knight later, but right here we're going to do a quick ledge jump and jump over the invisible wall. So normally you need to fight Black Knight and get the Galoshes power up to get to Fishy Clues. However, the only thing they put there that blocks you is an invisible wall, and with a ledge jump we can actually just jump over the invisible wall. However, we will still be fighting Black Knight later, as this is all bosses. Now, Fishy Clues, I definitely remember, and talking to people casually, this is not that fun of a level if you've played this game casually. However, in this speedrun, it can be a lot of fun with moving across the conveyor belts and just pretty movement-intensive level. But using the conveyor belts and understanding like which cycles you want to make and how to move around and get snacks and avoid enemies can be a lot of fun in the speedrun. Now, Fishy 2 is also a very interesting level for a different reason. Now, this level is all about movement to get as many snacks as possible. So I mentioned earlier that missing snacks will indirectly lose you time, and having a lot of snacks will indirectly save you time. Now, Fishy 2 has a platform cycle at the end that is pretty generous. However, in the speedrun, it's pretty much all about how many extra snacks can you get while still making the platform cycle. Unfortunately, missed a couple snacks I'd normally get there, but again, not a huge deal. Now we get those snacks here. Okay, missed a snack there. And this level is pretty much all about how many snacks can you get and still make the platform cycle at the end. And again, the platform cycle is very generous, so you're never really going to directly lose or save time in this level, but you might lose or save time in a future level depending on how many snacks you got in Fishy 2. And jump a little bit early to save like a second at the end there. Now Fishy 3 I'm going to hold right at the start to jump on this platform, jump on there, and as this third platform rises a little bit, we'll be able to jump over the invisible wall. Now Fishy 3, okay, missed that snack there. I'm missing a few snacks, but it shouldn't be that hard to make up snacks, especially in a category like all bosses. Now we're going to use these conveyor belts to boost our momentum just a little bit here. Another thing to note is if the conveyor belt is moving against where Scooby is going, if you jump at very precise times as you're landing, you will actually not be pushed back as much, which is really nice. Now we're heading into Fear on the Pier, which is a very nice transitionary level between the Fishy Clues levels and the Coast for some Ghost levels, the next big section of the run. Now, before we head into Coast for some Ghosts, I'll talk a little bit about Scooby's charge attack, because there is some kind of hidden tech you might not know about. So whenever we charge, Scooby's hitbox becomes extremely narrow, so narrow to the point where enemies actually won't hit you when you are using the charge attack. And we will use that to just move around enemies, and it's a lot faster than jumping over them or just killing them. Because if you actually do bonk into an enemy, it will cost you like a second because it plays like the bonking animation and stuff, and we don't want that. So let's see a really nice example of it right here when I'm going to just charge around that caveman right there. And because we are charging, that caveman is not going to hit us because the hitbox is so narrow. Get a few snacks here. We're going to do a quick cutscene skip. Going to jump over the trigger and onto the post. Also going to get a snack box right here. Oh, the snack box can be annoying sometimes. Hang on. Okay, I think I just need to be a little bit more down. And there, a third try. That was unfortunately losing a few seconds there. But we're heading into the back area of Coast 1, and this gets us a ton of snacks. Coast 1 is actually a level where, like, we get the most snacks in, like, a single level, or at least one of the highest amounts of snacks in a level in the run. Now that we've gotten all those snacks there, we're going to head to the end of the level where we need to collect 4 keys that are hidden in boxes. We already know where they are. And also in these boxes is luckily a bunch of snack boxes. So not only are we getting the keys we need to progress, but we're also going to be getting a bunch of snacks. Now, as you saw right there, I used the charge to get out of there. The fish normally would have hit me, but again, charge hitbox extremely narrow. Allows us to just move right by. Now, I'm also going to be taking advantage of the charge hitbox right here in Coast 2. Okay, never mind. I did not get it. So unfortunately, I got hit there, and I will not be getting what's normally called zero cycle. Normally, you'd be able to get to through this box without having to wait, but I got hit there, and if you get hit, you definitely will not make the cycle. But not a huge deal. It's like a 5-second time loss. So, Coast for some Ghosts Part 3. Pretty chill level in all bosses. You pretty much just gotta head left and get some snacks, avoid the flying fish. In any percent, you'd actually get a lot more snacks when you do this level, but in all bosses, we do not need as many snacks as we need in any percent, so a lot of that will just get skipped. So those boats in the background, normally in any percent, we'd go and get those, which is kind of risky, but luckily we don't need to do that in all bosses. Yeah, I lost a little bit of time missing the snack box in Coast 1 and not getting zero cycle in Coast 2. It's unfortunate, but that's the run sometimes. So going down which way? Another kind of nice transitionary level like Pier 1, which are in between Fishy and Coast. We're going to head up here and get this warp gate, which we're going to come back to later on in the run, and activating it now saves a little bit of time. And we're just going to go around and get some snacks. Make sure I don't get hit by that tar monster. Sometimes you can get hit by his projectile and then fall into the pit, and that loses quite a bit of time. Uh-oh. These snacks here, you just kind of got to know where they are, because this camera is going to face directly away from Scooby when that happens, and that can be annoying. Gonna make our way, get these 2 snack boxes here, and we're gonna go to Lighthouse 1, one of my favorite sections of the run. This level is very movement intensive. So we're gonna hit this switch right at the start, and this switch is heading up to the top, and it actually kind of puts us on a time limit. And inside that light actually contains our next Metroidvania upgrade. So we'll see that in a second, but we hit it very early so that we can get these snacks as fast as possible. So because we hit it so early, we just have to absolutely make sure we are going up here and our charges have to be very nice. So we're timing our charges to just get as much speed as possible. And we're also angling Scooby so that he's not going to bonk into any of the enemies and attack them. And we made it up here fast enough, and we're gonna get the Super Smash. The Super Smash is a basic ground pound type move, and it lets us break like wooden boards like that. And we'll use that in a few places during the run. Another thing to note is it actually locks Scooby's like vertical as during the startup of it, and you can actually use that to extend your jumps just a little bit. You can see like right here, it has a little bit of startup where Scooby doesn't go up or down during it. We'll use that actually for a big skip later on in the run. Now, heading out of Lighthouse 2, I'm going to head back to the Mystery Machine, and this is actually when we're going to go start killing the bosses. At this point in the any percent run, we would actually just go to the final level at this point. But of course, this is all bosses. We need to kill all the bosses. So, in the any percent run, there's 4 bosses in this game. The Black Knight, Green Ghost, Redbeard, and the final boss, the Mastermind. And any percent actually skips the first 3 bosses and only goes to kill the final boss. However, in all bosses, we basically get to the point where we'd go to at the end of any percent, and now we're going to go out of our way to first actually kill the Green Ghost, which would normally be the second boss of the game. That actually saves a decent amount of time when we go to kill the Black Knight later, because the upgrade we get from the Green Ghost actually saves us a lot of time in the levels that lead up to the Black Knight. So I'm going to make a second attempt at the ledge jump here. Oh, oh, okay, I didn't get it. Again, doesn't really lose much time because you can just jump back to the platform anyways, and you pretty much will never die attempting that. And also, after we fight the Green Ghost, we're actually going to fight Redbeard. So the intended boss order would be Black Knight, Green Ghost, then Redbeard, but we're going to fight Green Ghost, then Redbeard, and then Black Knight. And we're going to do that with some pretty precise tricks. You'll see in a second. Or you'll see in a... Yeah, you're going to see us do what's called plunger skip right here. So actually, after you get the Super Smash, you're intended to go get the Plunger power-up, and it lets you climb up steep slopes, like one here in Misbehaven 1. So at the top left, in order to progress through Misbehaven to get to the next part, you normally need the Plunger to get up the steep slope and enter the door. However, if we lead this fish monster all the way over here, we can use the Super Smash to get just enough height. Oh, hang on. We can use the Super Smash to get just enough height to get into the active area of that door to enter Misbehaven Part 2. And that saves actually like a minute over going out of our way to get to the plunger. And we can skip hit. Normally we'd hit those icicles down and we use them as platforms, but a few ledges right there saves us quite a bit of time. Now Misbehaven 3 is the longest level in the run. It is a roughly 2 minute long auto scroller. Not really too much going on. It would be an amazing time to get a lot of donations in. One tech here is right at the start. As the camera is panning back, we can actually move Scooby. So I know the angle that I can move Scooby at to make a pretty short path, but also still not fall in the water. If you do die in this level at all, it is a huge time loss. So we absolutely want to make sure that does not happen. Which luckily is not that hard. It's pretty easy to not die in this level. But we just gotta make sure we don't jump on these boats too early. If we jump on any of these boats too early, we might not have enough height to get to the next, like, rock. So just make sure you're not jumping too early. Make sure you don't jump too late either, and don't want the water to cover up the platform you're currently on. But, again, not really, there isn't much going on in this level. Just don't die, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, just waiting a little bit. I'm gonna jump. We have enough height to get to this platform now. This one we can actually jump to early because this is just a black boat that doesn't sink when we land on it, and we'll be hanging here for the next, like, 20 seconds. Not too much going on. We actually don't go on that rock there. It just leads to a sandwich. We just have to wait for all these snacks to go up here. Just get all these snacks and get this last arc up here. And just one last set of boats we have to wait for. I'm going to play this a little bit safer than I normally would, because you can definitely risk it and get an earlier jump here. But if you miss this, if you don't have enough height to get that jump at the end there, you literally lose 2 minutes. Just like that. And we definitely don't want that. So now that we're out of Misbehaven, we're now in the graveyard levels. And this is actually pretty much the only level in the run that has RNG in it. So the ghosts here, these enemies can be very annoying. Their pathing is entirely RNG where they go. And sometimes their pathing puts them right on top of a key you want. We need to collect these 3 keys coming in and out of the pits here. Oh, okay. That was almost really bad. But yeah, sometimes those ghosts can overlap with the keys, and the collection can be very annoying and lose some time. So, quick cutscene at the start here. We're just going to hold down and death abuse to skip that cutscene. And that saves us a few seconds. Weirdly, a side effect of that is our HUD is gone. So you can see we're collecting all these snacks, but it's actually not displaying our snack total. So weird side effect, but luckily we still are collecting these snacks, which is the important part. In Grave Plot Part 2, we have to hit these 4 vases, which knocks them down onto switches. But we actually did skip the first vase, and that is because there's normally a cutscene that plays when we hit the first vase. But there's also a cutscene that plays when we knock down the final vase. And if we hit the first vase as our final vase, it combines both cutscenes into one and saves a few seconds. So like right here, you notice it went to the vase and then went over to the door. Okay, wasn't exactly sure what's going on, but saves us a few seconds. Now I'm going to make sure I'm not running as I enter the crypt. And I'm going to hold a precise angle, and that is going to allow me to death abuse and skip a, like, 15-second cutscene or something. Ooh, that wolf is not entirely consistent with his pathing. I haven't tested it out much, but that is unfortunately one thing that's not an entirely consistent cycle. But luckily it doesn't lose much time. Now, Crypt 3. I mentioned earlier that all warp gates, you're only supposed to be able to warp to and from warp gates you've already been to and activated. However, the warp gate in Crypt 3 is for some reason always connected to the warp gate in the level Tomb 2. And Tomb 2 is pretty much right at the end of the graveyard levels. So we'll quickly be doing Tomb 3, pretty short level. Weirdly enough, there's a weird glitch that sometimes happens in this level with, if you can listen, there is the beginning part of the music is just looping itself. Don't really know why that happens, but this level is only like 20 seconds long, and we will actually now be doing our first boss of the run, the Green Ghost. This run, or this boss, like pretty much every boss in this game, is very RNG dependent and can be very annoying. So like right there, he attacked, that is very slow. Really don't have time for that. But we really have to deal with that here. Now, luckily he got hit right there. What we need is Daphne to line up with a coffin and open it up, and then we need to hit the switch and have the Green Ghost go over top that coffin. So it kind of needs a lot of stuff to line up, and it can definitely be annoying. Okay, luckily he's cooperating here, went on top there, and hopefully he will just go to the middle here, and we'll have a relatively fast Green Ghost fight, but unfortunate he's going to attack. Hopefully he will come all the way to the left. And that's an okay Green Ghost fight. Now we actually want to make sure we don't exit the level right away. We need this cutscene to play first. If this cutscene does not play, we do not get the Umbrella upgrade, which is the Metroidvania power-up we get for defeating the Green Ghost. Basically just lets us hover after doing a double jump. Now we're going to head back to Which Way to go fight Redbeard. So with the umbrella, we have very easy access to the ship levels. We can just use the umbrella, float over there. It's very nice. And we're actually going to be skipping most of the ship levels with what is called Ship Skip. Very nicely named skip. Oh, got hit there. Not a huge deal. Should still be able to make this cycle. I want to be able to get all those snacks and then be able to jump over here before that water rises. The tide here is on a consistent cycle to just rise and lower, and getting hit by the water is a one-shot to send you back to the start of the level. Right here is where we're doing Ship Skip. So, as you notice, I didn't hit the switch earlier to normally lower these masts. So we're going to jump on top of the side there, jump on the very top point there, and hover over here. And this is normally a shortcut from the very end of the ship levels to the first ship level we were just in. But like Skull Cliff Skip, we were taking that shortcut backwards as intended. And now we're doing what's called 750 Skip. So as you see, that's that snack gate over there. Normally we'd pay 750 snacks to get into the Redbeard fight. However, we can just charge there, and it teleports Scooby a little bit up, and we can do some jumps there to get on top here. But the trick isn't done yet. We're going to jump into this hole and hover all the way to the back here. And jump up some ledges here. This can be kind of inconsistent. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. Come on. There we go. And jump all the way back here. And we're entering the Redbeard fight from the exit. And with this, we actually have to do a trick, because normally we're in the back of the room, and we'd actually be locked in the back of the room. But luckily, there's a save point back here. And so we're going to save there, quit out to the main menu, and then load our save back in. And when we load our save back in, it teleports us into the room as if we entered the Redbeard fight normally. And so that basically skips all of the ship levels and collecting these 750 snacks you'd normally need to enter the fight. So I'm going to be going for what's called like a multiple rope here. Hang on. Oh. Okay, I definitely did not time that properly. But the way this fight works is these ghosts go by, and then he sends the Captain Moody ghost, the yellow rain jacket ghost at you. And after you kill the Captain Moody ghosts, he will throw his sword at wherever Scooby is. And we normally want him to cut the ropes. However, if we get him to shoot his sword like straight up, we can get him to we can potentially get him to cut multiple ropes at once. And for every extra rope on top of one he cuts, it saves like 20 to like 50 seconds depending on which phase you're cutting out. If you do get a 3-rope cut, it's like a 50-second time save over doing the fight normally like this. And that saves a lot of time, but is a very inconsistent trick. Definitely not something you can really rely on. Funnily enough, if you do get a 4-rope, you actually do get soft-locked and have to just reload the fight. It's like a 15-second time loss or something. So that's a funny thing that can sometimes happen. But right here, we just jump on top of any rope that's still available and just sit here as the ghosts go by. We are completely safe. The only real time save you can really do if you're up, besides getting multiple ropes cut at once, is when the Captain Moody Ghosts spawn, especially when there's 3 or 4 Moody Ghosts in the final 2 phases. Is group them all together, get hit, and as they're grouped up, you can super smash into them in quick succession. Unfortunately, it didn't work out all that well there. But still a decent Redbeard fight. And not really, if you don't get a multiple rope cut, there really isn't that much you can do to save time in the fight, which is unfortunate. Though, unlike Green Ghost and the Black Knight fight we'll be seeing shortly, it's not straight up RNG, which is nice. So, now that we've defeated Green Ghost and Redbeard, we'll actually be going to fight the intended first boss of the game, the Black Knight. So, because we fought the Green Ghost first, we now have the Umbrella, an upgrade we're definitely not intended to have at this point in the manor. The manor is supposed to we're supposed to go to the manor after getting the helmet. So, much earlier in the game than when you'd have the Umbrella. And we can use the Umbrella to skip very big sections of the run. Yeah, I'm going to use the Gum. The Gum is actually what we get from fighting Redbeard. That's the only point I'm using it in the run. It's to get that snack box a lot easier. It's a pretty consistent way to get that snack box. But that Gum is not useful. We just shoot at enemies and we can jump on off of the enemies after. Again, that is pretty much the only point I'm going to use it. Again, the Umbrella, as I was saying, lets us skip big portions of the manor levels, and we'll see that in a second. Sorry, after this level. It allows us to skip just big portions of the manor. Now, Manor 4 here, we have to get this key, but the key is above a burner. We just have to make sure we jump. Normally we're supposed to hit a switch to get rid of the burner, but if we jump precisely enough, we can get the key without going all the way to the end of the level. And it's a lot faster. That's the switch you'd normally hit. But again, we're skipping that. The only thing that sucks is if you mess up the jump and get hit by the burner, it is a one-shot kill. And it'll lose you like 10-ish seconds respawning. So heading into Mind Your Manners, we're going to do a pretty big skip. So go to a ledge jump up here. That just saves a few seconds. But the big skip is, normally there's a fan in here. And fans allow you to go to the top of like a room if you have the Umbrella. Hang on, go do another ledge jump here to get... Oh, hang on, can I jump off this bat? Okay, okay, I'm just going to skip that snack box. It's too slow at this point to go for. So we're going to hit that switch to activate that fan, and that fan allows us to float to the top of the room, and at the top of the room is, it is an intended shortcut, but you don't intend to access it this early. That takes us to Cower in the Tower, a level much later on in the manor. And also in Cower in the Tower is this really nice fan we can use to get directly to the top of the room, and this also gives us a bunch of snacks and health. Health management isn't really a thing in the run, but it is always nice to have. And stacks are looking pretty good right now. So not too worried about those. Now I'm going to do what's called Black Knight early here. Oh, getting that first try is actually amazing. That is one of the hardest tricks in the game. And what that allows us to do is basically skip a bunch of the manor levels. And so, like Redbeard, we're entering Black Knight from what is intended to be the exit for Black Knight. So we basically just do a jump there. We're going around an invisible wall. And it allows us to just skip going through a bunch of the manor levels. Now I'm going to try it. What we need to do with Black Knight is we need to line him up with these switches. And then hit the switches as he's going over them. However, his pathing can be very annoying. What I want here is I want to get the outside switches first. But his movement is entirely random for the most part. So you could have times like this. Okay, where he was going back and forth. If he goes left here again, that's really good. But as you can see, sometimes he doesn't. And that can be really bad. So he's heading all the way back to the right. The Black Knight is actually just like one of the biggest points of RNG in the all bosses run. We literally just need him to go all the way to the left, but again, his movement is random. Black Knight is also a decent time for donations to get red, especially if I get a pattern like this. Sometimes the pattern can be really good. Okay, like right here, I got him to do it, and I'm gonna wait for him to go back, and I'm gonna hit him, and that's really nice. But once I get him to hit the outside switches, the fight is basically over, because usually he just walks right over them after head right. There we go. So as you saw, it took a long time for him to get to the outside switch, but once he did hit the outside switch, the fight was basically over. So unfortunately lost some time there, but that is how the Black Knight fight is sometimes, so can't complain too much. So heading back, we're going to take this warp gate, and we're actually, since we've defeated the 3 non-final bosses, we're just going to go kill the final boss now. Now we're going to head to creepy crawlies in the hallways. Normally you're intended to go to this level. It's a junction point that leads to both the plunger upgrade, which we would normally have used to get to the graveyard levels, and it's also a junction point to the final levels of the game. And we're just going to head to the final level of the game right now, using a pretty precise, a set of precise ledge jumps, which shouldn't be too bad, but we'll see. This is actually the one point in the game where you have a little bit of health management, because here in Creepy 2, you need to get these 4 keys above these bubbling cauldrons. However, the bubbles will deal damage to you, but at the same time, if we're precise enough, the key hitboxes are slightly bigger than the bubble hitboxes. So we can still get those without a problem. Gonna charge right by here. Normally we're supposed to rescue Shaggy, and he will hoist us up to get this key, but we can just grab the key by doing a ledge jump. And right here is Redbeard Skip. This Skip's doing all of the basement levels, and in the 90% run with Skip fighting Redbeard. Just a ledge jump there, and a ledge jump there, and that is a huge chunk of the game just gone. And here, the lab, we're just going to use the umbrella to float to the top of the room. And now in lab, normally you'd have to go to the back of the room and hit a bunch of switches, and that's pretty slow. Usually this room would take like a minute if you were playing this game casually. However, in the speedrun, we'll be doing what's called rail jump. We can just jump right up to the top there. And that saves, again, like a minute or two's time save, just like right there. That's a pretty precise jump. It's pretty much just making sure your second jump is at the very peak of Scooby's first jump. Now I'm going to do what's called Lido Skip, which skips most of the lab levels. Just jump back and forth, back and forth. Oh, hang on. Back and forth, back and... Oh, I don't know why I'm not getting this. There we go. And go hold it upright, do a ledge jump off of the wall. Pretty generous ledge jump. And paying the final 850 snack gate in the game. And I'll be heading into Shark Room now. Now, Shark Room is the last instance where we'd normally have to do a little cooperation puzzle with Shaggy. He is above a shark-infested pool. And normally we'd use his swings to swing, his legs to swing back and forth. We'd normally hit that switch. And we'd also go and hit the switch on the right. They're about to show it in a second. This cutscene is unfortunately unskippable. Unfortunately for Shaggy, we can actually just clip through this door in the back. We literally just hold up left and hold the jump, and that just lets us clip through the door. Luckily for Shaggy, he is still alright, as we will see in a second. The gang is all gonna be here in the back of the room there. Everyone here, and this is actually where the final boss is gonna be. So we're actually gonna clip into the room by just charging into this wall, and this actually saves a little bit of time since we wouldn't have to go through the first phase now. We get to hit these buttons early. Just getting a little bit of health to make sure I don't die. We still have to go through the electricity, which causes damage. Hoping some of these guys drop health. They're all dropping gum, which can be an unfortunate thing with running all bosses. Once you do get the gum upgrade from Redbeard, enemies have the potential to drop gum instead of health. Right here, the final boss is just kind of like an enemy rush type thing. We just wait for the electricity to turn on, a bunch of enemies spawn. These Funland robots, the blue and purple dudes, we need to charge into them and then super smash into them. So they're like a two-step process. And we hit these switches, and the mastermind is going to come down. It's RNG where he spawns, which is unfortunate. But once the mastermind is knocked into the electricity, that will be time. So I'm going to delay killing these Funland robots a little bit so that they don't respawn quickly. And that's this is unfortunately not a great spawn. However, since I delayed killing the Funland robots, this is a lot easier to manage, and that is time. We just knock him into the electricity, and that is Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, all bosses. A 4d12 honestly is pretty good. Unfortunately, lost a decent chunk of time to Green Ghost, and lost some more to Black Knight. But oh well, that is how all bosses is sometimes. But that is it for Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, all bosses, no CE. So I really do believe this game has a lot to bring to GDQ. It's a ton of fun to watch. There's variable stuff with the snack routes. There's a lot of cool tricks, especially in the all bosses run, that I think the GDQ audience would really get a lot out of. So thank you so much for watching this to the end. I hope you had a fun time and have a wonderful rest of your day.